Hi, this is Daniel from the-digi-picture.com. Today I'm going to show you a nice little trick in post-production. We all know the tools dodge and burn. These are very handy tools to lighten or darken certain areas of your photograph in post-production. But these tools come with a disadvantage, and that's the fact that they work directly onto the pixel layer, meaning they work destructively. What I'm going to show you today is a way to apply the same kind of effect in a non-destructive manner. Okay, let's get started. What we've got here is a photograph of the Hotel Dolder Grand in Zurich, Switzerland at night. What we are going to do now is apply the dodge and burn technique to lighten or darken certain area of this photograph. First, I'd like to demonstrate the conventional dodge and burn technique. The conventional dodge and burn technique, like already mentioned, works directly onto the pixel layer, meaning it's destructive. So in order to retain our original image, we have to duplicate the pixel layer. I click on the layer, I select duplicate, and now we are going to work on this second layer. What we are going to do in the image is we are going to use the dodge tool to brighten this dark side of the roof and the burn tool to darken this bright side. Let's start with the dodge tool. We've already selected the dodge tool. An opacity of 10% is alright. And I'd like to start by affecting the shadows. So under tonal range I select shadows. Now I can start painting over the dark area here. And a first check reveals that the effect is not yet strong enough. That's why I'm painting over the area once more. And we can already see a difference. Now, because there are also tones in the mid-range which I want to brighten, I select the mid-tones and paint over the area again. And as you can see, the effect is now pretty strong. Now it's time to do the same with the burn tool on the bright side of the roof. Again, an opacity of 10%, and I start by affecting the highlights. I paint over the bright area. And because I already know that this is not going to be enough, I paint over the area again. And if we check the result now, we can already see that the side of the roof has been darkened quite a bit. In order to increase this effect, I also select midtones and paint over the area again. And the dark area has been significantly brightened, and the bright side is definitely much darker. This has been a short introduction to the conventional destructive dodge and burn technique. Let's take a look at the alternative technique. The alternative technique includes an additional pixel layer. So I am creating an additional empty pixel layer. I set the blend mode to overlay, and I fill this additional pixel layer with a mid-gray value of 128. Now it works as follows. You can now paint with a paintbrush and white to brighten a certain area and black to darken a certain area. Again, we are working with our roof, which has a dark and a bright side. We start by brightening the dark side, so select the paintbrush, opacity of 10%, white color, and we paint over this dark area. Okay, quick comparison. As you can see, the area over here has already been brightened quite a bit, but I want to improve the effect, so I paint over it once more. Which brightens this side even more. Another comparison. Okay, let's work on the bright side. Change the color to black. Paint over this area over here. All right. Once more to make the effect stronger. Another comparison. And you can see the effect is quite strong now. If you decide that the effect is too strong now, you can weaken the effect by reducing the opacity of the corresponding layer, which gives you a lot of control over this effect. On the other hand, if the effect is not strong enough yet, you can paint over the desired areas once more, or if you want to increase the entire effect on all the areas you have modified, you can simply duplicate this layer, which also duplicates the effect. And now if a duplication is too strong, you can again reduce the opacity of this second layer and fine-tune the effect. This gives you a lot of control over the dodge and burn process, and this process is completely non-destructive, meaning you can simply deactivate or even delete these layers and you're back to the original image. Next, I'm showing you a nice trick how you can fine-tune the effect even more. Let's take a look at this area over here. We have dark bushes and bright lights. Let's say we want to brighten the dark bushes, but not the bright lights. We want to leave them alone. For this, we create another empty pixel layer. Once more, we set the blend mode to overlay, and I click here to access the blend options, and here I can set the blend range, meaning I can set which tonal values are going to be affected by this adjustment, and you can gradually increase or decrease the amount of effect applied to a certain tonal value. On the left are the dark values and on the right are the bright values. Now I want the dark areas to be fully influenced by this effect, and I want the bright areas to be left alone. So I reduce the strength here, the output, to 0, and because I want to protect only the highlights, I set another point here. So now all the pixels up to 80% lightness are influenced by 100%, and only the rest, the 20% in the highlights, are affected less, up to, let's say, 90% brightness, where the output is 0, meaning there's no effect at all. Okay, this should protect our lights. Let's try it out. Paint with white onto this pixel layer, and for some reason our pixel layer has not been filled with yet with mid-gray, so we have to do that now. Fill, mid-gray value of 128, apply. Alright, now let's paint with 10% opacity, white. Yes, let's paint over that area and see what happens. Let's paint over it once more. And as you can see, you can zoom in a bit more to get a better look at it. As you can see, the bushes and the surroundings of the lights are much brighter now, but the lights are still more or less the same brightness. So this should give you another idea how flexible this alternative dodge and burn technique is. Plus, you have always the advantage of working in a non-destructive way. We are almost at the end of this tutorial, but before I finish the video, I'd like to mention a few facts. First, instead of the overlay blend mode, you can also use soft light, like I've done here. If we look at the result, we can see that the dark area of the roof that was brightened becomes even brighter in soft light, but the bright area of the roof that was darkened becomes less dark, meaning the darkening effect gets weaker in soft light and the brightening effect gets stronger. If we change from overlay to the soft light and back to overlay, you can clearly see the difference. I prefer overlay because, in my opinion, it gets me a much more balanced result. But of course that's up to you. You can experiment with the settings and use the tools that work best for you. Second, I chose to produce this tutorial video with Affinity Photo. But this technique does not only work with Affinity Photo, but with any image editing software that supports layers. So no matter if you work with Affinity Photo, with Luminar, with Photoshop or Corel PageUp, you can use the technique described in this video. That's it for today. I hope you liked the video. As always, I'd appreciate it if you subscribed to my channel and visited my website. You can also leave a comment, let me know what you think about this video, and see you guys back soon for another video. Bye!